Children, let's continue from page number 50 after read and find out. I know that Bill's helpfulness to the young fellow from the city was not entirely a matter of brotherly love. I was paying him for his time. In the end, I paid him for 6 hours, including the lunch hour, at what was then a very high price. So, children, we have read that the hack driver, he took him around the village, and then there was the lunch time. He offered to bring lunch from his wife, and for that also he charged to the young lawyer. So now, and they enjoyed the lunch by sitting on the hill edge. So now the narrator is saying that all this helpfulness or this kindness of that person, of the hack driver Bill, to the young fellow, means to the young lawyer from the city, it was not because of brotherly love. You can say मतलब सिर्फ भाईचारे की वजह से नहीं था. Rather, he was, the lawyer had to pay for his time, and together they spent 6 hours, and in the end he paid him $12 because they had decided that he will pay $2 for each hour. So at the end he paid him $12. That was a very high price for him. But he was no more dishonest than I. I charged the whole thing to the firm, but it would have been worth paying him myself to have his presence. Now then he says that Bill was not dishonest because he was helping him from his heart. Rather the lawyer was dishonest. Why? Because he has to charge all that, or he will get all that money from the firm. So nothing was going from his own pocket. So he was considering himself more dishonest than the hack driver. So, and then he also said that it would have been worth paying him myself to have his presence. Then he is saying that if he has to pay from his own pocket, that also would have been worth. मतलब अगर उसे अपनी जेब से भी लगाना पड़ता तो कह रहा था कि वो फिर भी मेरे लिए वर्थ पेना मेरे लिए अच्छा रहता, because he was helping him, he was enjoying his presence. His cheerful country wisdom was very refreshing to a country boy like myself who was sick of the city, because he was enjoying his company. He was telling him everything about the village. He had a good knowledge about the village. So all that made the city boy very refreshing. Means the narrator, or we can say the young lawyer, he was feeling very happy, and because he was very fed up with his boring routine, so it was a change for him. So he was enjoying all that. As we sat on the hilltop, looking over the pastures and creek which slipped among the trees, he talked of New Million and painted a picture in words of all the people in it. Now they were sitting on the hilltop, and from there they were enjoying the scene. There were pastures, means there were fields, and a creek. Creek is a narrow inlet from a river. एक छोटी सी, जैसे किसी नदी से एक छोटी सी पानी की धारा कहीं से अलग होके बहने लग जाए, that is a creek. And that creek was going towards the trees, and while sitting there and enjoying the lunch, the hack driver, or we can say Bill, told him about each and every people of the village. He described almost all the people of his village. He noticed everything, but no matter how much he might laugh at people, he also understood and forgave their foolishness. So that Bill was a very, you can say he was a very expert person. He observed everything, and he had made fun of many people from his village, but he also just forgave them for their foolishness. He described the minister's wife who sang the loudest in church when she was most in debt. Now he is describing a few of the people. So he described the minister's wife as when she sang at her highest pitch when they were in debt. Means अगर उनके ऊपर जब कर्ज हो जाता था तो it was a sign of the debt that she started singing at her highest voice. Then he commented on the boys who came back from the college in fancy clothes. Then he commented on the boys um, who wore very fancy type of clothes. He told about the lawyer whose wife could never succeed in getting him to put on both a collar and a tie on the same day. He made them all alive. On that day, I came to know New Mullion better than I did the city and to love it better. So he described many people. He described about a lawyer of his village, and he painted a live picture of so many people of the village. And then the lawyer realized that he didn't know about his city life better than Bill, who knew his village very much. So he described all the people and the village very beautifully to him. Bill didn't know about colleges and cities, but he had traveled around a lot of the country, and he had had a lot of jobs. From his adventures, he had brought back a philosophy of simplicity and laughter. He strengthened me. So Bill, he had not been to town or to the city colleges, etc. He had not joined any college, but he had traveled a lot in the village. He had traveled a lot in the villages, and he had a lot of jobs there. He had done a lot of jobs in the villages. So from his adventures, he had brought back a philosophy of simplicity and laughter. Means from all his experience in his life, he has developed a philosophy in his life, and that philosophy is of simplicity and just enjoying. And all that strengthened the lawyer also. We left that peaceful scene of meadows and woods and resumed our search of Oliver Lutkins. We could not find him. At last, Bill concerned a friend of Lutkins and made him admit what he guessed. Oliver's gone out to his mother's farm 3 miles north. We drove out there laying plans. So, after that, they left that place. Meadows are the grasslands. So, they left that beautiful grasslands and the jungle. Then they continued their search for Oliver Lutkins, but they were not able to find him. At last, Bill, he asked his one of the friend of Lutkins, and he finally find that Oliver has gone to his mother's farmhouse, and that was 3 miles away in the north direction. So finally they started for that place, for his mother's farm. Now next page, children. I know Oliver's mother. She's a terror, Bill sighed. I took a trunk out there for her once, and she almost took my skin off because I didn't treat it like a box of eggs. So now Oliver started describing Bill's Lutkin's mother. He told her that she is a very horrifying lady. Once I happened to took a trunk for her, and she was took my skin off. Means she was very dreadful, very khatarnak type of lady, and she treated him very badly because the box which he had carried to her, he didn't treated it like a box of eggs. She is about 9 feet tall and 4 feet thick and quite quick as a cat, and she sure can talk. Now he's describing that she is a very tall lady of 9 feet. Can a lady be such a tall? So means he's exaggerating the lady. So she's 9 feet tall and she's very healthy, 4 feet thick, and she's very quick as a cat, and she sure can talk. Means now he's exaggerating her mother's picture. I'll bet Oliver heard that somebody chasing him, and he has gone on there to hide behind his mother's skirts. Well, we'll try her, but you would better let me do it, boy. You may be great at literature and law, but you haven't had real training in swearing. Now, Bill told him that, of course, she's very horrifying, but don't worry. I will face her. You just wait there. And since Oliver has heard from someone, or someone from the village has told him that someone is searching for you, that's why he has gone there to hid himself behind her mother. मीन्स अपनी माँ के पल्लू के पीछे छुपने के लिए वो वहाँ चला गया होगा, क्योंकि उसने सुन लिया होगा कि कोई उसे ढूंढ रहा है. बट देन ही सेड ओके डोंट वरी, विल ट्राई हर. मीन्स उसकी मदर को भी हम देखते हैं, we will face her and I will do that. You just stay after me. And boy, I know that you may be good at literature and law. Means हो सकता है तुम अपनी स्टडीज़ में और अपने जॉब में, लॉ में तुम बहुत अच्छे रहे होगे, लेकिन you don't know about the you haven't had the real training in swearing. Swearing is an official language, sorry, an offensive language which is used when someone is very angry. तो मीन्स वो गाली गलौज की भाषा गंदी भाषा, कहता कि तुमने उसका शायद कोई रियल एक्सपीरियंस नहीं लिया होगा, उसकी कोई ट्रेनिंग ली होगी, इसलिए यू जस्ट स्टे अवे फ्रॉम इट, यू जस्ट hid behind me and I will face the lady. We drove into a poor farmyard. We were faced by an enormous and cheerful old woman. My guide bravely went up to her and said, "Remember me? I am Bill Magnuson, the carter and hackman. I want to find your son Oliver." So they went there, and there they met a lady that was very cheerful, very happy. The lady was. Then Bill introduced himself to her and said, "Do you remember me? I am Bill, the carter and the hackman, and we have come here to find your son Oliver." "I don't know anything about Oliver and I don't want to," she shouted. And suddenly the lady's mood changed and she started shouting. And she said, "I don't know who is Oliver and I even don't want to know about him. Now look here, we have just we have had just about enough nonsense. This young man represents the court in the city, and we have a legal right to search all properties for this Oliver Lutkins." Now the hack driver Bill, he told the old lady that stop now, enough is enough. This young man, now he tried to introduce the lawyer, he pointed towards him and he told the old lady that this young man is from the court in the city, and he has a legal right to search all the properties for Oliver Lutkin. Means he has come to search Oliver, and he has a legal right also for this because he is carrying a summon for him. Bill made me sound very important, and the woman was impressed. She retired into the kitchen and we followed. She seized an iron from the old-fashioned stove and marched on us shouting, "You search all you want to, if you don't mind getting burned first," she shouted and laughed at her frightened retreat. Now when Bill introduced him, saying that he is from the court and he has someone also, the narrator, he felt very important, and the woman was, it also seemed that she was also impressed by this. So she went into the kitchen and they also followed her. She seized means suddenly she took an iron from the old-fashioned stove and passed, and she started shouting on them. Means वो किचन में गई और वहाँ पे उसने एक जलती हुई एक रॉड सी उठाई और वो उनके पीछे पड़ गई चिल्लाते हुए. एंड देन शी सेड, "You search for all you want to, if you don't mind getting burned first." कहता अगर तुम अपने आप को जलने से बचा लोगे तो तुम पूरा घर ढूंढ सकते हो. यू कैन सर्च एनीथिंग यू वांट टू. एंड शी शाउटेड एंड लाफ्ड एट अस. और वो चिल्लाने लग गई और उनके ऊपर हंसने लग गई. उनके पीछे पड़ गई वो रॉड लेके उन्हें मारने के लिए. एंड दे वर सो फ्राइटन्ड दैट they returned back. Retreat means they started moving back. "Let's get out of here. She will murder us," Bill whispered. Outside, he said, "Did you see her smile? She was laughing at us." So then Bill said, "Okay, let's get out from here. Let's move out from here. Otherwise, she will kill us. And when they came out, Bill said, "Do you see the smile? She was laughing at us." So children, that's all for today. Rest we will do in the next class.